Champions Cup round 2 review then with my team of the round as well and the top 3 performers overall. But before we get there, a quick look at kind of the headlines as we reflect on the second weekend of competition. I think you still have to say Premiership on top. It's massively surprised me last week that 7 out of the 8 Gallagher Premiership teams got a win. 4 of them are still 2 from 2. I did not see that coming, because my perception has been that the English teams have been getting weaker. The salary cap has dropped. They're operating on lower budgets than the top 14 teams and some URC sides. But you have to say, as I mentioned last week, the fact that 3 English clubs have gone bust means they're playing fewer games, so they're able to be fresher for the Champions Cup. And some of those players that have come from Worcester and Wasps and London Irish have really strengthened these English clubs, and they are performing brilliantly in the Champions Cup. And when you look at the points that have been accumulated so far, you see just how well the English sides are doing. The URC sides between them have got 33 points, top 14 37, and look at that, 56 points among the 8 Gallagher Premiership teams. That is quite something. Meanwhile, there are a bunch of teams that are winless. I put this up last week and said some of the favourites are under fire. Some of the bookies had Munster and Stormers and Toulon and Racing as slight outsiders, La Rochelle as absolute favourites. Only the Stormers out of those 5 got a win at the weekend. So those 4, Toulon, Racing 92, La Rochelle, Munster, still winless after 2 rounds. The format of the competition means I would still back at least a couple of those, maybe even all of them, to make the knockout stages, but they've got an uphill battle from where they are right now. Into the team of the week then, and Stephen Kitshoff, the Spicy Plum, was the best loosehead prop I saw over the weekend. If you think there's another player I should be mentioning, then let me know. That's what the comments are for. Get stuck in down below. And by the way, if you get value from the channel and you appreciate the rugby content, then please, I would love it if you would hit subscribe, and I could earn that from you, and then give the video a thumbs up. That helps spread the word. And by the way, there was some computer whiz, I don't know who did it, some website came up with the top rugby YouTube channels in the world, and I'm really proud, I'm very grateful to now be in the top 25, and I'm wanting to go higher. So with your help, hopefully I can. Stephen Kitshoff, meanwhile, he showed the Ulster fans why you pay the big bucks to the props, and the platform that he gave Ulster was the absolute foundation of the attacking play they were able to put on and the tries they were able to score. And the fact that Stephen Kitshoff was able to get one over on his national skipper Sia Khaleesi's Racing 92, really good win for Ulster. Kitshoff was excellent. To hooker, and a relatively unknown name, Archie Veins, 22 years of age. He's only played 11 times for Leicester Tigers, but I had a look, and in those 11 games, he's scored 9 tries. That is quite some hit rate. He got a hat-trick against Stade Francais, taking an inexperienced Leicester side to Paris, and Stade Francais absolutely devastated that they lost. Leicester Tigers, that was a famous victory that they got. Archie Veins, what, I mean, he must be just waking up this morning pinching himself that just happened. To tight head prop and another South African, death taxes and South Africans having incredible props. And this guy, another relatively unknown name, hasn't been capped by the Springboks, and he's been the backup to Frans Malherbe at the Stormers. I mean, normally saying you're a backup tight head prop would be like, all right, you're not that good then, or you're not as good as others. Being a backup to Frans Malherbe that's nothing to sniff at. Being backup to the best person in your position in the world for the last decade is not a bad place to be. And he got the start at the weekend, and Juan Flier was excellent. Scrum penalties won against the massive La Rochelle pack, and that made the difference. They would not have won that game. Well, firstly, without Marnie Leboc's brilliant conversion at the end, but certainly without the scrum work that Stormers did. That was one area of their game that worked really well. There's lots of other areas they're wanting to be working on. Into the second row then, and the first name, Emmanuel Mayfu, was absolutely immense. 150 kgs. He qualifies to play for France now. He's got his French citizenship and a passport. He was the first person that Eddie Jones called when he took over as Australia boss to say, can I tempt you to come and pull on the gold jersey? He's from Australia. He said no chance. And I can understand why, because at Toulouse, mega money. And also France, not a bad team. He's been there 5 years. He qualifies. He will play in the Six Nations. What a player. And in the second row, talking about what a player, at 21 years of age, Daith Jenkins has got the world at his feet. He is the natural heir to Alan Wynne-Jones's throne and he looks to be a potentially world-class lock. He is captain at Exeter, where he's doing a brilliant job there. 2 from 2, great win over Munster. Daith Jenkins was superb. Into the back row, and talking about players being superb, 2 man of the match performances in a row in the Champions Cup for Courtney Lawes. And all I could think while I was watching him just dominate the great Charles Olivon is I was thinking, how can Courtney Lawes be retiring from international rugby? He is the best blindside flanker in the Northern Hemisphere. You've got Peter Steph Toy in the south, Courtney Lawes in the north. He's the king in the north. And Courtney, you need to play for England. What are you doing? You're the best player in your position. By a mile. Come on. Please. I love Courtney Lawes so much. He was great against Toulon. Across the back row to Juan Martin Gonzalez. Now, he did wear 6 for Saracens at the weekend. He operates across the back row, so I've snuck him in at open side flanker. I could have gone with Josh van der Flier for Leinster. Could have gone with Nick Timoney for Ulster. Another couple of great performances in the back row. I've gone for Gonzalez because he was just all action, picking up from where he left off with Argentina in the World Cup, settling into his new home at Saracens after London Irish went bust, and was a great performance from him. And finishing the back row, and it's an all-English club back row because Alfie Barber of Bath, I've given him the nod at number 8, and he's looking like a player that is going to make Steve Borthwick's at least wider squad for the Six Nations. Whether he makes his cap or not in the Six Nations, we'll wait and see, but he's looking really, really good. I just hope he can stay fit. Alfie Barber, brilliant stuff. Greg Fisselau for Exeter, talking about young number 8s in England. He looked really good as well. Scrum half, who else? Antoine Dupont was sensational for Toulouse. And yeah, a player that won't be involved in the Six Nations because he's going to be joining up with the French Sevens squad for a couple of tournaments there. So we might not get to see him in the Champions Cup as well. No, actually, I'm sure we will, because it's a massively important competition for Toulouse, as you saw with their total beatdown of Harlequins, and Dupont was at the heart of it, as was Tomar Ramos. And I could have gone for Jack Crowley here for Munster. I thought he was really good. Finn Russell for Bath was great, but Tomar Ramos, one of the best fullbacks on earth at international level. When he steps up into the 10 jersey for Toulouse, his relationship with Dupont was brilliant, and he absolutely fizzed. A ball runner, a distributor, he's got a great boot on him. He's the complete package and playing brilliant rugby at the minute. Into the wings then, and Ben Loader for Stormers I've gone. Now, quite often, the wingers that you would pick in a team of the week would be the ones that score loads of tries, make loads of meters. Ben Loader did what, when there's not a lot in games and you're up against a team like La Rochelle, the champions of Europe for the last 2 years, come into your patch to try and win. Ben Loader had to contain that attack with guys like Dylan Lades running riot at times. And Ben Loader was part of a massive defensive effort to contain La Rochelle and keep them to just 20 points. And then, like great wingers, when you get your chance, you've got to take it. And he took his try brilliantly. And I was impressed with Ben Loader. And I was watching him as an Englishman thinking, we need to keep an eye on this guy. Because London Irish went bust. He didn't have a club. He's taken a little bit of a gamble, rolled the dice, gone to Cape Town, and he looks like he's fitting in with a team that want to play ball. And yeah, when they can really start to click, I think Ben Loader could be in for some action, whether it's at the wing, fullback, or whatever it may be. He looked really good, so he made my team of the week. Into the centres, Stuart McCloskey, Stuart McCloskey. He just punches holes, runs hard, hits hard, and he was a man of the match performance in Ulster's win over Racing 92. Just gives an identity and a focus to Ulster, and Big Stu was excellent. I could have also gone for Willemse. I thought he was really good for Stormers. And at outside centre, I could have gone for James Hume for Ulster, Barassi for Toulouse. I've gone for Henry Slade, again, a player who's in the team of the week last week and this week. And what a guy. What a guy. I cannot believe England didn't think they needed him at the World Cup. He's just a creative spark, brilliant left boot, reads the game really well. You could slot him in at 10, 12, 15. He's brilliant at 13, and he had another fantastic performance. Breakaway try at the end to confirm the victory for Exeter Chiefs. A really young Exeter team that he's one of the experienced heads in, and he's just having a worldie of a season. Well done, Henry Slade. And Damen Penno, one of the best players on earth at the minute. He's just doing things that others cannot, and yeah, he was absolutely brilliant. Bordeaux looked like serious contenders for this competition this year. And yeah, what a joy to watch play. Damen Penno and George Fairbank for Northampton Saints. What a season he's having. Mike Lowry I thought was really good at fullback for Ulster. There were some other contenders, but I didn't see anyone better at 15 than George Fairbank. And a big part of that is just how Northampton are playing with Tommy Freeman stepped in at 13. They're just, yeah, they're playing some great rugby. It's really good to watch. So there you go. That's my team of the week. As for the top 3 players overall, out of all of those 15, if you had to pick a top 3, who would you go for? The best performers, I saw them as Tomar Ramos, Courtney Lawes, and my player of the week in the Champions Cup round 2, Emmanuel Mayfu, who is absolutely 100% going to be playing for France in the Six Nations, probably starting wearing the number 4 jersey, I would suggest, alongside maybe Thibaut Flamand, or maybe on the bench. But he's going to be involved because he's just an awesome player. So there we go, Champions Cup round 2 done. Tell me what you think about that. Leave your comments, hit subscribe, give the video a thumbs up, and I will see you on the next one.